And good morning, Man Hour Nation. Week NFL 14 is damn near in the book. You got 2 Monday night games tonight. What, 2? Yeah, 2 Monday night games. That's absolutely stupid. But hey, it is Way or No Way Monday here. We have got to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Buffalo Bills. We got to talk about the Dallas Cowboys laying the absolute smackdown to the Philadelphia Eagles. We going to talk about playoffs? Yeah, playoffs, Hoppy. We going to talk about those damn playoffs. And how good are the Patriots? But first. And now, Mike's thoughts. NFL Week 14 is damn near officially in the books. We have 2 games tonight. We have the Giants taking on the Packers, and we got the, I don't even know what the other game is. Does it really matter? I think it's like the Titans or somebody like that. But nonetheless, I want to talk about tanking in the NFL. I want to talk about how many people are saying, oh, our team needs a tank. We're tanking. We can't even do this right. Well, guys, I've said it once. I've said it twice. And now I'm going to say it for the 3rd freaking time in the last 2 weeks. There is absolutely no tanking in the NFL. Even if you tried to tank, coaches are battling for their coaching lives. Players are playing for the next big contract. It just goes out there and shows you. Patriots win this week. Absolute tank mode, right? The Bears come out and lay the smackdown to the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions, forget that. There's an 18-week season. They played good for 8 or 9 weeks, and they shit the bed. Last year, this year, right? Jets. All you have to do is lose, and you'll rebuild. Can't do it. They win. Arizona Cardinals, week 13. Beat down the Steelers. I guess, like at this point, who hasn't beaten the Steelers? But that just goes to show you that there's absolutely no tanking in the NFL. You can try all you want. You can try, you can pray your team like, hey, all you got to do is lose the rest of the games and we'll get a first overall pick. Okay, well, you can't do it. There's 53 guys on a team that don't want to lose. There's 20 coaching staff members that don't want to lose. The only people that want to lose it is the owners. And then the owners are like, hey, keep it just close enough so we can get fans in the stand still. Jets, every Jets game I've watched this season, they have not sold out or they leave early. Guys, there's absolutely no damn tanking in the NFL. Cue that intro. Are you ready for the best damn NFL show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that then. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that that's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, then listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Stripes like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches, won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live, all 3 speakers go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? Michael Buckhouse here with the Man Hour, short up at manhourradio.com. Check out the blog section. We're dropping about 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 blogs a day, like over there. Get over there, check it out. All your NFL news is over there, from the East Coast to the West Coast to the North to the South, and hell, we'll even throw some Canadian Football League in their news if you want. There's all types of news over there on the blog section. But guys, it is Monday, December 11th, and that means one thing and one thing only. It is time for Way or No Way, and we need to overreact to some losses, to some wins, and so just some weak NFL 14 football. But if you guys have not done so already, hit that like button, hit the like button, hit the share button as well, because sharing is caring at the end of the day. But before we get too carried away into the show and welcoming people in the chat here, we have to welcome the right-hand man, the peanut butter to my ladies, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John freaking Hoffman. What's up, Hoffy?
What up, Buck Nasty? I wasn't sure if you were going to pull an XD Gamer and just, not show today after tough loss yesterday. But hey, It's going to be the best 2 weeks of Man Hour that we've had for two straight weeks with no XD Gamer. It's going to be nice.
Yeah, apparently I have him blocked, but it is what it is. Jokes, I don't have anybody blocked besides the guy that keeps saying like, oh, praise Jesus and he'll give you $1 million. Well, man, shut up. Shut up with that. But
Jesus.
we got to welcome my man, Jim Paladin, in the chat, and he says, there's no official tank. I'm sure of that. It's the quiet quitting cancer with huge egos or lack of talent that causes a form of cancer that is unrepairable. Word. That's the word. AK, Jim, I feel like you're talking about the Raiders. I feel like you're talking about the Raiders that could not score 1 point against the Minnesota Vikings last night. I feel like you're talking about the Las Vegas Raiders that nobody wants to be in Las Vegas. Let's just be honest. When I turned on that game, I had it on the multi-screen and I was kind of watching it, not really watching it, but watching it, right? Because I was more focused on my Chiefs game, and man, fuck those Chiefs. But every time I would look at the Raiders score, it was 0-0, 0-0, 0-0. I'm like, what is going on over there? Like, is the score not updating? There is no way they got Josh Dobbs. Oh, he got benched. No way they have Justin Jefferson. Oh, he got hurt like in the second quarter. No way you have Adrian O'Connell. Oh, he just playing like a shit-ass quarterback that he is, you know.
Dog water.
That game was so bad. So I did pick the Jets to beat the Texans, and I did watch that game through and through. And I would much rather watch the Jets play over and over and over again against the freaking Vegas Raiders, than the Raiders. Hoffy, do you think there's tanking in the NFL?
No, I think that teams players have too much pride to want to lose every single game. And I think even ownership, if you're tanking, you're going to be losing ticket sales, you're going to be losing money. So I think that's kind of I don't think that's something that any really teams do, at least not in football. But, it's pretty hard to tank when you have, like you said, 52 guys that don't want to lose and 20-something coaches that don't want to lose their job. So unless you're a Miami Dolphins, coach, and you're, told that you will be fired if you don't, then, different story.
Allegedly, because I believe he settled outside of court, so I imagine that. And he's still coaching in the NFL. But Brian Flores, that's a story for another day. We have a long offseason ahead of us coming up here in like 3 months. Can you believe that? Damn near in 3 months, NFL season is officially over. But let's talk about tanking, right? Houston Texans last season, final game of the season, all they had to do was lose to the Indianapolis Colts. But their coach knew this was his last game. The players knew that this was the coach's last game. What they do, they come out and they beat the Indianapolis Colts and give the they end up giving the Chicago Bears the first overall pick. But, blessing in disguises. Now you get number 2 and number 3, and now you're potentially making it into the playoffs, even though that loss to the Jets did hurt their playoff chance quite badly. But speaking of playoffs chances, Hoffy, there was a game yesterday afternoon at 4:25 here on the East Coast that my eyes were glued to. Chiefs Kingdom was loud. Tay-Tay Swift was in the crowd. We don't lose when Tay-Tay's there at home, right? Let me get up in my chair, and I'm about to get hot, right? But the Kansas City Chiefs did lose to the Buffalo Bills last night, 20-17. Now, I've seen all the memes. I've seen all the posts on all the comments on our Facebook pages. I've been on threads. I've been that the refs cost us the game. The refs did this. The refs did that. I believe it was Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid both come out and said the refs were out for us all game long. It's like, shut up with that crap. Tooney lined up offsides. It's simple as that. But we got to ask the question. When we dive deep into this game, way or no way, guys, are the Kansas City Chiefs going to miss the playoffs? Yes, I said it, miss the playoffs. Guys, right now the Kansas City Chiefs are a team that is struggling at best. The Kansas City Chiefs are a team that they need some get-right games. They need to play a team like the Jets. Oh, wait, the Jets just won. They need to play a team like the, I don't know, let's say the LA Chargers. Oh, the Chargers just beat the Packers or just beat the Patriots, right? They need to play a team, I don't know, like the Patriots. Oh, the Patriots that just beat the Steelers team. Guys, there is no way whatsoever that in my right mind that I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs. I do not think they're going to miss the playoffs, but right now they are a struggling ship. They have lost 3 of their last 4 versus the Eagles, versus the Packers, versus the Buffalo Bills. Granted, all teams that were on a streak, right? Kind of living high, living large. But right now, the Kansas City Chiefs are on the hot seat. The Kansas City Chiefs right now are a team that they need to get right. They need to go out there and they need to dominate the Patriots. It was supposed to be a Monday night game. Have you ever seen a Kansas City Chiefs game in the last 5 years get flexed out of Monday night? Well, it has happened, right?
It's never been done.
They need to go out there and dominate the Raiders. Probably not going to happen. They need to go out there and beat the Bengals. The Bengals are playing some damn good football. Chargers, who knows if they're, Justin Herbert's out. But way or no way are the Kansas City Chiefs going to miss the playoffs? No way. They are going to make the playoffs. They are going to make the playoffs. However, it might be as a wild card. The Kansas City Chiefs, dominant for the first 6-7 weeks of the season, might be a wild card. Hoffy, can you wrap your head around that? Kansas City Chiefs, but they were 7-1, 8-1, going into the Denver Broncos game. Oh, it's just a fluke, and now all of a sudden we're talking about wild card. Wrap your head around that. Can the Kansas City Chiefs, Hoffy, way or no way, are the Kansas City Chiefs going to miss the playoffs?
There is no way that I'm wrapping my head around that. It's just not going to happen flat out. I mean, they're going to beat down on the Patriots. They do play the Raiders, but that's in Kansas City. I think Spags is going to have a pretty good game plan, and he's going to be able to confuse the quarterback for the Bengals. So I think that'll be the one. That might be one of the games where you look at the Bengals quarterback and go, hey, he is a rookie, or he is still learning. And then the Chargers, they're going to beat them. So if they might lose one game, and that's probably the only chance I see them losing is to the Bengals, and I don't think that's going to happen. But they have a 98% chance of making the playoffs. So I don't see any way possible that they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
but it is. I mean,
go ahead.
The AFC though is a wide open. I mean, once you get into the playoffs, it's a free for all at that point.
Yeah, there is definitely no dominant figure right now in the AFC. Hell, even the Ravens this weekend looked pretty vulnerable. But I want to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs just in general. I want to talk about the lackluster play, I guess. Like, I don't know what words to like really convey of like what they're doing, because if you guys sit back and actually watch the Kansas City Chiefs, like actually watch them on the offensive side of the ball. Yes, there's a lot of drop passes. Yes, there are a lot of missed throws. Yes, there are quite a few just, what the hell are you guys doing? But there is absolutely no swagger in the Kansas City Chiefs. There is absolutely no like, hey, hold my beer. Look what is about to happen. Patrick Mahomes is hanging on the ball for 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds at a time, and then he gets pissed because he's getting sacked. Bro, you are literally hanging on to the ball over and over and over and over again. This would happen to you a couple years ago when Tyreek Hill was there and you were consistently trying to push the ball down the field over and over and over again. The next year, you started nickel and diamond down the field, won a Super Bowl. Now you're reverting back to like your sophomore year ways. Like, guys, the Kansas City Chiefs as a whole right now, something is just a bit off. whether it's on the coaching staff, whether it's on, hey, we've won 2 Super Bowls in 4 years, whether, hey, we're damn near locked to go to the AFC Championship every year. Maybe they have the Detroit Lions effect. Maybe they are satisfied. Maybe they are full, right? Maybe they need this season. As a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I sat there and I told my wife, Cindy and I were sitting on the couch, and she's like, damn, how do you line up offsides? I'm like, lack of football IQ, honey. Maybe, just maybe, the Kansas City Chiefs need to get smacked in the mouth. Maybe, just maybe, Tooney needs to get his silver grill out of his mouth and understand that he is not the man that he thinks he is. Guys, this is what it's like to be a Kansas City Chiefs fan back in the early 2000s. When we had Trent Green, when we had like a Bo and Tony G, right? We were supposed to be really, really good. 13-3 over and over and over again, right? First round playoff exit year after year after year. Guys, something is wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs. Huffy, can you make any sense of what is wrong with the Kansas City Chiefs? Is it swagger? Is it coaching? Like, what do you think?
I mean, they don't have that swag right now, and they're not putting, you know, the fear of hey, we got to go against Patrick Mahomes in that offense, because, you know, beforehand, I mean, even after, you know, before when you had Tyreek Hill, it was, you know, we got Tyreek Hill, we got Kelsey, we got Mahomes, and, you know, what are we going to do? Even after the fact, when it was Juju Smith-Schuster and Kelsey, it was still, we got to go against the Chiefs in this offense. But it seems like no one is afraid of going against this Chiefs offense anymore. It's not the gauntlet that it used to be. And I mean, we saw it on the sidelines. They're just not communicating. They're not a group. They're not one solid group like you see with the Cowboys that are picking each other up and, you know, enjoying each other's presence, or the 49ers, teams that are clicking. They just don't have that it factor right now.
Yeah. And to be honest, everything points back to coaching staff, right? What has changed? But besides Tyreek Hill leaving 2 years ago, the Kansas City Chiefs the next year still won the Super Bowl. Since then, since last year into this year, there has been a lot of coaching staff changes, right? Eric Bieniemy is gone. They have a new offensive coordinator in Matt Nagy. They have a new linebacker coach. They have a new special teams coach, right? There's a lot of new egos, new people in the locker room, and the Kansas City Chiefs right now are just, I don't know. It is frustrating just because, like, you as a Patriots fan, right? You have seen the glory days, and you, least for the Patriots, right? Like, it happened like that, right? You guys were good, and then boom, you were bad, right? Like with the Chiefs, like, this has been like a season, right? We were, boom, we were expected to be the best, and then literally like the next week versus the Denver Broncos, boom, they suck. Like, I don't understand. But Jim is in the chat here, and he says the Chiefs are falling into the give it to me trap. They don't have to work hard. Everyone will bow down. I tend to agree with that, right? The Kansas City Chiefs think that people should bow down to them. They think that they should be scared. Yes. And people are understanding, if you smack them in the mouth, you get Travis Kelce frustrated, bada bang, bada boom, the rest of the team goes down. I mean,
yeah, and I think it was it Rice, the wide receiver, that, I mean, they talked about it in the game yesterday about how prior to being drafted by the Chiefs, you know, Mahomes was down in Texas and they were doing routes together. It seems like, you know, before you could take Kelsey out of the game and people like Juju Smith-Schuster would eat this and that. Right. But it seems like people like Rice are like, hey, you know, I got Mahomes. You know, they're not stepping their game up like people like Smith-Schuster would, like Tooney did a couple years ago before getting traded to the Giants. I mean,
right.
No one is saying, you know, like you said, they're all complacent with, we got Mahomes, he'll figure it out. Nobody wants to, you know, step up and be that guy that, you know, makes a play.
Yeah, and, you know, if you want to go on that route, maybe Patrick Mahomes never had the it factor anyways then. just because you are one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, you still have to hold people accountable. You still have to be the leader. You just can't be sitting there crying on the sidelines, right? What made Tom Brady so great is he demanded excellence from everybody, from the water boy to the number 1 overall pick, right? He demanded excellence from everybody. Patrick Mahomes doesn't, right? You can see that if Travis Kelce drops a ball, he's like, oh yeah, it's okay, man. But if Rice drops the ball, he's like, oh, you're supposed to catch that, right? Like it is not equal across the board. And like, I think that is the one of the biggest downfalls for Mahomes right now. Jim also says the Chiefs are going to go back to the 50-year drought of Ice Cube soap flavored of football to where they used to have with Alex Smith. I'm not for sure I'm following you there, but Alex Smith definitely was really good for the Kansas City Chiefs. I love me some Alex Smith. I love me some Trent Green. Let's just not go back to the Matt Castle time, because that was a very, very dark ages.
I was going to leave that one alone for you.
And then he says, also, Shane Falco never cried. Yeah, he did. Shane Falco cried when he put lotion on his back. Oh, it's cold. Oh, man. Got WB Ant in the chat. How about them Ravens? Yes, man. How about them Ravens? I was about to shit on your Ravens all day long, but somehow, some way, the refs decide, like, hey, you know what? This overtime game's gone long enough. Let's not call the 3 blocks in the back. Let's not call the holding. Let's just let the man return a 76-yard punt to win the game. But the Ravens are officially now the top seed in the AFC there, Hoffy. The Ravens are a team that did not look very good off the bye week. Are the Ravens, Hoffy, let's just go kind of off the cuff here. Are the Ravens a team that you are worried about in the playoffs at all?
If you would ask me this a couple weeks ago, I'd say no, but I think that we kind of said it earlier. The AFC is wide open. I mean, you have top dogs like the Dolphins that have looked questionable and, haven't beat a team with a winning record. You have, teams like the Chiefs that are, holding on by the seat of their pants. The Ravens have, had a couple, yesterday, take that, for instance. And then you have, the AFC South. We don't even know who's coming out of that as far as winning the division. The Jaguars had Lawrence and lost to the Browns yesterday, which the Browns are going to be a wild card team. So, I mean, can you trust any AFC team in the playoffs is kind of really where I would probably lead that question back to you.
Yeah, so right now, Ant said Lamar Jackson played great. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson, okay? Lamar Jackson did not play great in that game. Lamar Jackson's stats might look great, but Lamar Jackson had a lot of terrible throws. I believe it was a touchdown pass to Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. is running wide open. I think the closest guy to him was like 10 yards, maybe 8 yards. And Odell had to turn his head this way, turn his head this way, turn his head back the other way, and dive and make some acrobatic, amazing catch and slide into the end zone. Basically, Lamar Jackson overthrew a wide open receiver. Flashback a couple plays later, or a couple plays down the road. Was it Zay? I think it was Zay Flowers, right?
Zay Flowers.
Yeah. Wide open in the middle of the field. Lamar Jackson overshoots him over his head. He has to jump up and make like a one-handed bobbling catch and gets his dick smacked in the dirt. Ouch, right? Listen, Lamar Jackson's stat line may have been pretty good, right? But the throws that Lamar Jackson missed were easy, wide open throws. He consistently overthrew receivers. He consistently throws it he is just not a very good down the field passer. That's what I'm trying to get to. Now, with that being said, I think the LA Rams, I said it back in June, that they might sneak into the wild card. Right now, they might sneak into the wild card. Whatever, I don't know what happened in LA. Cooper Kupp came back and they are on a freaking tear, right? They went from 3-6 and now they're 6-7, right? With the loss to the Ravens. They are on a tear. But the Ravens were not as dominant as they were before the bye week. When you flash back to the Ravens pre-bye week, this was a team that I said, hey, you do not want to play them right now. This is a team that you're like, hey, they can pretty much do whatever they want, when they want, how they want. But that bye week came. Granted, nobody got arrested, Von Miller. But looking at their schedule moving forward, they're going to be battle tested, right? They do play the Jaguars Sunday Night Football coming up. The Jaguars are in a must-win situation. They're going to go out there and they're going to give it everything they can. You have to travel to Jacksonville. It's going to be muggy. It's going to be hot. You're not used to that warm weather, right? Then you play the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football Christmas Day, right? And then you play the Miami Dolphins. At least it's at home. But the Miami Dolphins, they have something to prove. Pittsburgh Steelers going to be battling for their playoff lives. The next 4 games for the Baltimore Ravens are not easy at all. And if you look at it right now, if you drop 2 of those next 4, which I think you will do, that puts you in the 2nd seed of the AFC. Miami Dolphins will ultimately get the 1st overall seed. If you lose, let's say to the 49ers and Steelers, right? Say you beat the Jaguars, say you beat the Dolphins, right? That still puts Miami in the driver's seat as the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. And when you look at your last games, battle tested versus the Jaguars, 49ers, Dolphins, and Steelers, you're going to be tired. Let's just be honest, you're going to be tired. So as a 2nd seed, you are going to be playing the 6th seed, or sorry, you will be playing the 7th seed in the playoffs. And right now, that looks like it could be the Steelers. It could be the Browns. Hell, it could be the Bengals. What is the biggest kryptonite for the Baltimore Ravens? Other AFC North teams. Lamar Jackson can play good as he wants, right? He's still a bad down the field passer. He's still not a great quarterback yet. He's a really, really good quarterback, much improved this season. Could probably win the MVP if they win out. Probably won't, but the Baltimore Ravens right now are playing not to play other AFC North teams in the playoffs. So slow it down, baby, as like Arthur Brown said, slow it down, baby. Baltimore Ravens looked very, very vulnerable. Gave up 31 points to the Rams? The Rams? I thought this was the best defense in the land. Granted, the offense did score, or the total team scored 37 points with some little bit of help from the referees. And then Ant says he had over 400 total yards, 70 rushing, 3 touchdowns, and he picked up half of our first downs. The throws were bad, but it was raining and windy. I was at the game. Yes, we here in Louisville, we had that rain and tornadoes Saturday, right? It was just a nasty, dreary day. But what do you think is going to be in January in Baltimore? It's going to be raining. It's going to be windy. That's no excuse. No excuse at all. And then Rant also says the Rams offense is definitely good. That rookie Pakanuka is nice. I don't know how you say his name, but it's Puka, right? Puka. He is very, 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 very good. So, Hoffy, after you hearing my argument for the Ravens, right? Let's say they do drop down to a number 2 seed and they have to play a 7 seed in the Browns, in the Bengals, or the Steelers. Can the Ravens beat 83 of those teams in the playoffs?
If the Dolphins win tonight, do the Dolphins take the top spot, or is it the Ravens if they're both?
The Dolphins have the tiebreaker. They have more
Okay.
conference wins or something just like that.
So when the Dolphins win tonight, they'll be back in that top spot, which means you have the Ravens at the 2 spot.
Chiefs at 3.
So you're gonna
Yep.
Chiefs at 3.
Jaguars at 4.
Right. So who would be the 7 seed is what I'm trying to
Right now,
figure out here.
I believe it is the Indianapolis Colts is sitting at the 7th seed right now. But I think that the Bengals, Browns, or Steelers are going to end up as a 7th seed. One of them are going to end up as a 7th seed. I think the Colts will officially be out. I think the Texans will officially be out. I think the AFC South winner is the only person from the South that gets into the playoffs. And the way the Bengals and Browns are playing right now, hell, you can even throw the Steelers in there. I think they're still sitting at the 6th seed. The AFC North still might get all 3 or all 4 teams in, and the Ravens kryptonite is the AFC North and the playoffs. Year after year after year, they lose to the AFC North.
Yeah, I think if you end up playing against the Browns or if you play against the Bengals, you got to watch out. I think the Steelers, I don't think they're going to make it. I think they're starting to come down to reality. I don't think they're that good. But yeah, the other 2 teams, the Bengals or the Browns, that's I mean, a division game. Those are always tough games. And then, like you said, I mean, they play each other so many times that they know each
Right.
other's strengths, weaknesses. I mean, that defense for the Ravens is pretty good, but if you can take Lamar Jackson out of the game and force him to make those deep ball throws and keep him in the pocket, it's a much different game. And if the defense doesn't show up like they did not yesterday, luckily it was against the Rams, but you can't have games like that in the playoffs and expect to win.
Yeah, and I think of the exact opposite of you. I think the way to beat the Rams is let Lamar Jackson eat. Let him, run around like a chicken with his head cut off. Take away the other running game. Take away the receivers and just force Lamar Jackson single-handedly to beat you. That's what I would do because, ultimately he is going to want to either make that big play, whether it's scrambling or through his arm. And we know he's a poor down the field passer and throw it into interceptions over and over and over and over again. Jim says the Dolphins are wearing flannel shirts and driving 4-wheel drive Suburbans. And it's still fake dude shit. I want to, Jim, give me your coffee. What?
The Dolphins defense of the past few weeks is ranked with like the top defense. I mean, the defense is finally coming together. They got Jalen Ramsey, who's absolutely balling out. I mean, the Dolphins are probably one of the teams in the AFC right now that I don't want to play in the playoffs. The other teams, I'm not worried about them at this point in time.
Yeah, you are correct. Like the Dolphins are playing some top-notch football right now. Arthur Brown's in the chat. What's up, Arthur Brown? He says back at number 1. Ravens just keeping our seats warm, baby. Just keeping the seats warm. Ant says, as long as we're healthy, I like our chances in January. And I honestly don't want us to get the first overall seed. That first round bye could come back and bite us like it did in the ass like it did in 2019. True, because you guys did have a very late season bye, right? Or week 13 bye. So, I mean, I could see it 5 games and have a game off. And then, yeah, I mean, I could see it. But this is only the second game since 2020, 2021 that Lamar Jackson has played a full game in December. So don't count your chickens before the eggs hatch or something like that. Isn't that what they say?
That ankle injury is coming at some point here.
Yeah. Well, we don't wish injury on like anybody, but it is.
I'm not wishing. I'm just saying it's happening.
Yeah. It just It's going to happen. Wayne G is in the chat. What's up, Wayne G? He says Lamar wants to stay in the pocket. The whole offense is built for that. In the pocket, throws for 350. So this year so far, Wayne G, Lamar Jackson has definitely developed more into a passing quarterback, right? But it is easy to do new things when you are winning a lot of games, right? Watch that Baltimore Ravens game. When they were down third quarter, like 17-10 or something like that, it seemed like the Ravens were pretty much behind the whole game. Lamar Jackson was not very comfortable in that pocket. He kept trying to elude the pocket. He kept trying to roll to the left, roll to the right. He was not satisfied with being in the pocket just because, you know, he wanted to, like, hey, it's time for us to go. It's time for us to go. We need to win. We need to win. Now, when you're winning, when you're dominating teams like the Bengals 34-20, when you're beating the Cardinals 31-24, when you're beating down the Lions 38-6, it is easy to sit back in the pocket. Oh, yeah, whatever. If it happens, it happens. If it don't, it don't, right? When you're down, when you're trailing most of the game, you revert back to your athletic ability, right? That is why a lot of coaches wear you out and then run through plays is so your mind is out of it. You act like you're like in a game. And then Ant says, exactly, bro. This is a long comment. I'm not gonna be able to pop that up there. He says, exactly, bro. I saw it with my own eyes. He stood there and looked sharp, especially in the first half. Now in the second half, he made some poor throws, but he looked so comfortable in the pocket and he ran when he had to. He's too shifty and fast for anyone to catch him. The hate for Lamar is real. Please don't try to wish injury on my quarterback. We're not trying to wish injury at all, by the way.
I didn't wish. I just said it every year.
Yeah.
And it's around this time, which it's unfortunate because I'd like to see Lamar Jackson in the playoff. But at the same time, he's only throwing for 225 yards a game. He's got 16 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. He's not a world beater for that team. That defense is what's, you know, winning them games. Yes, he's, you know, got a decent QBR and stuff like that. But I mean, you've got people like CJ Stroud, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Sam Howell, Tua, Jared Goff. They're, you know, Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts, Justin Hurts. They're all throwing for much, you know, putting up better stats. They're just not on a team that, you know, is as good as defense as the Ravens. So, you know, that Ravens defense is really probably going to be what is you know, what carries that team, especially, you know, in December, in January, in the playoffs, cold, nasty games. So if their defense continues to play like they have, except like they did yesterday, then they're going to be all right. You don't need Lamar Jackson to throw for 350. You need Lamar Jackson to, you know, and nobody can catch him. He's got 31 sacks. He's up there with some of the most sacks, you know, this year. So You just need 225 yards a game, you know, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions, you know, maybe add in a running touchdown, a rushing touchdown for your running back. I mean, you don't need Lamar Jackson to throw for 300 plus yards with that team.
Yeah, so this is the one thing bad about the Baltimore Ravens right now. So I have been on record in the past saying that Lamar Jackson is a trash-ass quarterback, and he has definitely improved this season 100%. But this is still the problem with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson. It's the simple fact that he is their whole offense, right? He is the leading rusher. He is obviously the leading passer, right? If Lamar Jackson happens to miss a series, right? What are you going to do? Are you going to rely on Gus Edwards? Are you going to rely on Tyler Huntley? Like, I mean, last year I thought Tyler Huntley was a better fit for the Baltimore Ravens than Lamar Jackson was. I said it. Yes, Tyler Huntley only had like 2 wins or something like that, but he seemed to look better for the Baltimore Ravens. This year, we have not seen him as much. It is still early. We could see him. Maybe the Ravens lock up the division and lock up the 2nd seed, right? Maybe we see him in the last 2 games of the season, right? But if Lamar Jackson has that bad game, i.e. the Buffalo Bills, was it 2019 when they went into, no, it wasn't 2019, it had been 2020 when they went into the Buffalo Bills and he did like a jump pass and knocked himself outright. Like it is just a matter of time before Lamar Jackson does miss a series, misses a quarter, right? I mean, unfortunately, that is just the way it is. Just like Joe Burrow. It is just a matter of time before he misses 2, 3, 4 games in a season. He's just an injury-prone guy.
I mean, just look at the quarterback position all year round. I mean, you had C.J. Stroud get hurt yesterday. You've had Trevor Lawrence. I mean, it seems like almost every quarterback has missed, one series, if not more, significant time due to injury. I mean, it's just the position. They handle the ball 70 something plays a game. I mean, it's going to happen. So, especially as it gets colder, the bones and everything stiffen up, the ground hardens. I mean, we're not wishing it. It's just, it's the nature of the game. And I mean, like I said, look at how many, I think this year is probably the most quarterback injuries we've, had in the league.
So I actually heard it on a broadcast. It was the Browns game. Joe Flacco is the 54th starting quarterback this season. So basically every team has had 2 starting quarterbacks so far this season. So
20x,
yeah. So just wrap your head around that.
Quarterbacks.
So we've talked about the Chiefs. We've talked about the Ravens. Let's flash back to the Chiefs-Bills game and let's talk a little bit about the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills guys might be one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. This is a team that still has a 3.8% chance of winning the AFC East. Do they win it? Who knows? But they do have a 25% chance of making the playoffs. The reason why it is so low after beating the Kansas City Chiefs is because they don't own any of the tiebreakers versus the Steelers, versus the Jaguars, or versus the Texans. But they are sitting at 7-6 right now on the season. And they, ever since firing Ken Dorsey, they have looked fairly good. Wins over the Jets, 32-6. Battled the Eagles, 37-34 loss. And then they go into Arrowhead and they absolutely dominate the Kansas City Chiefs, 20-17. They do play the Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, and Miami Dolphins coming up right now. So we got to ask a question, Hoffy. I'm going to kick it to you first. Way or no way, do you think the Buffalo Bills make the playoffs?
Yes, they'll make the playoffs. I don't see, they're 3 games back, but they do own, as of right now, the tiebreaker against the Dolphins, but they got to play them in the last week of the season. But I mean, the Bills have got the Cowboys coming into town. That's going to be a tough game. You got the Chargers, the Chargers aren't very good. I mean, they are on paper, but they're not. But it's a primetime game. I mean, we've seen some crazy shit this year in primetime games. We've seen the Chiefs lose to, the Broncos on Thursday night. Teams show up for them, those under the light games. They play the Patriots again. The Patriots have already beaten them once this year. I don't see them. I think they're gonna, take this Patriots team serious and they'll handle business. But I don't see them, being able to pick up that 3 games on the Dolphins. I don't see the Dolphins losing 3 games, the rest of the season. They might lose 2, but they're not losing 3 games. So yes, the Bills will make the playoffs, but I still think it's the Dolphins division.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, Hoffy, but I do believe that the Miami Dolphins beat the Tennessee Titans tonight. They pretty much win the East. It is a lock at that particular point because they do play the Jets coming forward as well. But the Buffalo Bills guys are a team that's getting hot at the right time. We've seen it year after year after year in the NFL. Any given Sunday, any team can beat any team. That is just the way it is. And that's why we love the NFL game. But it's also about getting hot at the right time. New York Giants, right, Hoffy? Come out and beat. They had to win like the last 3 or 4 games of their season to get into the playoffs. They sneak in there. I believe they were a losing team at that particular point. They were 7-9, and they come in and they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, right? The Seattle Seahawks a couple years ago, they were 7-10, or they were 6-10. Win that NFC West somehow, some way. 13-3 Saints come into town, and the Saints lose that game. Believe the Seahawks actually ended up going to the NFC Championship game that particular season. So it is all about getting hot at the right time. Guys, I think it's a way. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to win out. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to beat a team like the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. I think they are going to beat the Chargers. I think they're going to beat the Patriots, and I think they're going to beat the Dolphins come week 18. Basically because the Dolphins will be in cruise mode at that particular point. But I do think that they win their last 4 games and they get into the playoffs at 11-6. Granted, it's going to be a 5th seed and the wild card, but they are going to make it into the playoffs. And this is a team that you do not want to play. The Kansas City Chiefs, you guys better hope that the Jaguars or the Texans or the Colts lose a lot more games than like you do, because you do not want to play the Buffalo Bills in the first round of the playoffs. 4 seed versus 5 seed at Arrowhead. Buffalo Bills come to town. My 13-second jokes have taken its course. So Buffalo Bills are going to be a dangerous out right now. If they make it, you don't want to play them.
So the Dolphins are up 3 games right now. The
Right.
Dolphins have the Titans tonight. They'll win that. They should win against the Jets. But then the Dolphins. So, I mean, I guess the Bills are going to have to win out at this point if you want to look at it that way. But then the last 3 games, you have Cowboys at Dolphins. You have the Dolphins at the Ravens. And you have the Bills at the Dolphins. It's very likely that this Bills team they're very much still in play to win this AFC East.
They have a 3.8% chance of winning it.
I know, but they just beat the Eagles. They just beat the Chiefs. I mean, they're kind of building up that swag. I think if the Dolphins, get manhandled by the Cowboys, that kind of kills their, then they come into the Ravens game, they lose that, and now you're coming in and it's a must win against the Bills, and the Bills have kind of taken them to the woodshed
Right.
over the years. So I would say it's much. I'm not saying it's more than 50%, but I would say it's more at 30 to 40% chance that the Bills still have the Bills win this division over the Dolphins.
Well, but if you think about it, the Buffalo Bills do play the Cowboys and Chargers and the Patriots in the upcoming weeks. If they drop one of those games, and then the Miami Dolphins beat the Titans and the Jets, it is a lock.
Yeah.
Like it is a wrap. So.
Yeah, they have to beat the Cowboys, and that's where I think, hey, you beat the Cowboys, now you just beat the Eagles, you beat the Chiefs, you beat the Cowboys. I mean, those are all teams that everyone's thinking are Super Bowl contenders. It builds up from there. So if they beat the Cowboys, look out, they might roll through. But that's going to be a tough, difficult game. Cowboys are playing extremely well, so we'll see.
Yeah, so John says, I think the Dolphins get the Bills this time. Ant says the Bills could definitely win out. Their toughest matchup will be against the Dallas Cowboys, and that's exactly where I want to go next. There, Mr. John Hoffman, the Super Bowl favorite, the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, not only, Hoffy, did they win last night, they absolutely dominated the Philadelphia Eagles. Right now, the Cowboys are sitting at top of the NFC East with a 10-3 record, tied with the Philadelphia Eagles. However, the Philadelphia Eagles are still in the front seat. They still control their own destiny. They do have the easiest schedule moving forward. They do play a Monday night game versus the Seahawks, and they play the Giants, Cardinals, and Giants again to end the season. And then the Cowboys play at Buffalo Bills, at Miami. They play the Detroit Lions, and then the Commanders in the next 4 weeks as well. So, Hoffy, I'm going to kick it to you first, because I want to know your opinion before I tell you my own. Way or no way do the Dallas Cowboys win the NFC East?
I think the Eagles' schedule is pretty, like you said, it's a cupcake schedule. Let's be honest, but they have problems on both sides of the ball, and it's quite kind of obvious. I mean, the coaching staff seems to be having issues. The offensive line isn't overpowering people like they should. I mean, I don't see. I could very well see both teams winning out. I don't, but I think it only takes. The Eagles lose one game and it's over. But I mean, Dak Prescott has been playing out of his mind. I mean, the first 6 games of the season, he was averaging 222 yards a game. He had 6 touchdowns and 4 interceptions with a 91, QBR rating. Since then, he's got 310 yards per game, 22 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 119 QBR rating. Those 22 touchdowns are the most in a 7-game stretch by any Cowboy quarterback in the history. So I think the Eagles have to win this division to be to have any success in the playoffs. I think the Cowboys are a team that they're clicking on all cylinders. They can go on the road. You don't want to play them in Dallas. That's for damn sure. So I think the Eagles still win the division, but if they don't, they're in a lot of trouble. And even if they do, I think they're still in trouble. So I think their success depends on them winning the division. The Cowboys can afford to lose this division and still make noise, still make a Super Bowl run. The Eagles absolutely have to have that top seed because they're not going to San Francisco and beating San Francisco. They're not going to Dallas and beating Dallas. And I think those are the 3 teams that are going to be there at the end. Those are the 3 teams that one of those 3 teams is going to be a Super Bowl champion, I think. And I don't think it's going to be the Eagles. So I am going to say, yes, the Eagles still win the division, but they're not going to be in the NFC Championship with how they're playing right now.
Yeah, and neither are the Detroit Lions the way they're playing right now either. They forget that it is a 18-game season. But let me talk about the Philadelphia Eagles right now. Last night, I really thought the Philadelphia Eagles were probably going to come into Dallas and make it a very competitive game, right? But Jalen Hurts fumbled the ball. A.J. Brown fumbled the ball. Devontae Smith fumbled the ball. Offensive linemen lining up offsides on the tush push, right? Critical holding calls. It was a pass interference with the face mask, right? Very, very critical part of that game. May have been a game-changing penalty on the Eagles side. I believe it's on Bradbury. But we've said it, Hoffy, all season long. The Philadelphia Eagles have been playing down to their competition, right? The Philadelphia Eagles are a very, very good team on paper, right? They should be dominating teams up and down the field. They have one of the best front 7-on-7s on the defensive line, and they are on the defensive side of the ball. And then they added Shaq Leonard as well. Granted, he played very, very sparingly last night, just kind of getting acclimated, starting to learn the ropes there. But once he gets in there, he's going to be he's going to be the starting middle linebacker. Think about that. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you do have DeAndre Swift, you have Jalen Hurts, you have A.J. Brown. And their tight end back is right. Dallas Goedert this was his first game back since playing the Cowboys five weeks ago when he broke his arm in that game. But the Philadelphia Eagles are a team right now that looks very, very, very tired. In the last 6 weeks here, Hoffy, they played the Commanders. They won 38-31. They played the Cowboys. They did win that game 38-23. Then they go to Arrowhead Stadium, beat the Chiefs 21-17. Then they played the Buffalo Bills 37-34. Then they get beat down by the 49ers 42-19, and then they get beat down by the Dallas Cowboys 33-13. The last 5 games have all been primetime games, and then they got flexed to the Monday night game for Seattle as another primetime game. I've said it once, and I'll say it again. These primetime games are taking its toll on the Philadelphia Eagles. They have 6 primetime games in a row. The lights are on you. The pressure's on you. They are mentally starting to break. Now they need games versus the Giants at 4:00. They need a game versus the Cardinals at 1:00. They need a game versus the Giants at 1:00 in the afternoon. They need just these. We're not on Fox. We're not on CBS. They just need to take a deep breath and chill. With that being said, I do think the Dallas Cowboys win the East. I do think the Dallas Cowboys come out and beat the Buffalo Bills and beat the Dolphins and beat the Lions and beat the Commanders. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys are clicking on all cylinders. I think the Eagles come back and they lose to the Seahawks on Monday night. I do think they split with the Giants as well, and that gives the Cowboys the front seat in the NFC East. However, if the Dallas Cowboys do win the East, I do think they are a first-round playoff exit. I do think that they need a loss moving forward. I think the Cowboys need the pressure off of them, but they will end up probably winning the last 4 games and shit in the bed in the playoffs. They'll probably be the number 2 overall seed. They'll play the 7 seed and like the Rams. The Rams are going to come into town and whoop that ass. It's just the way it is. But I do think the Cowboys win the East. Any thoughts of what I just said?
I do gracious. I do see where you're going with the if they win out this season, that how many wins in a row would that be? What are they at for right now?
7 or 8.
Wise?
7 or 8 like in a row. So right now the Dallas Cowboys are on a 5-game winning streak. They have wins over the Giants, Panthers, Commanders, Seahawks, and Eagles. They win 4. They win 4 more.
Like
That's
9
in a row.
It's tough to get into double digits. So I could I can agree. I can say that it's going to be tough to go win 10, 11, 12, 13 in a row and call yourself Super Bowl champ. So yeah, I can understand maybe wanting to have that pressure off of you. But I don't see that I mean, if they could lose to the Bills or something like that. So yeah, I think they have to lose. I think they'll lose one game this year, whether it's to the Dolphins or whether it's to the Bills. And I think that'll relieve the pressure from them. But I mean, the Eagles have lost to teams like the Jets this year. So I mean, I could see them. I don't think they'll split with the Giants. I think the Giants are just in absolute shambles. But they could very well lose to the Seahawks, and then the Cowboys lose to a team like the Dolphins. Then I think at that point, because it's an AFC team, then the Cowboys would still win the East, because I think at that point they would have a better NFC head-to-head or whatnot. So
right.
So yeah.
And the Eagles also played the Cardinals in 2 weeks as well, and we know that the Cardinals do step up to the Cowboys, do step up to the Steelers, right? So the Cardinals are not going to be no easy out like either.
Yeah,
but,
and they're much better now. Now they got Kyler Murray, so
yeah, and Kyler Murray is definitely playing for his future there in old sunny Arizona. But let's get caught up on these comments here before we end the show here. Ant says, yes, the Eagles' schedule is much easier. However, the Dallas Cowboys will lose to the Dolphins. The Dallas Cowboys do play 3 of their last 4 games on the road, so it could very, very well be. But we know how the Dolphins play against teams above 500. They don't play very well. Sorry, it is what it is. Arthur Brown says, it's hard to beat a division team twice, and the Buffalo has been running through us like a $2 lot lizard. As in the Miami Dolphins. That's pretty factual. Arthur, you need to stay away from those lot lizards. You don't need to be bringing anything home. John says, Josh Allen's red zone is terrible. So is Trevor Lawrence's. That is one of the knocks of Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence, their red zone abilities not to score. That's why they're married, because they could not score. So they found the first bridesmaid that they could find, and bada bing, bada boom. Hey, I got money. Marry me. Arthur Brown says, we are pretty much like Dallas and Philly as far as rivalry back and forth, as far as the Bills versus the Dolphins. Very, very true. Ant says Miami will expose the Dallas Cowboys defense. Possibly. I mean, I don't know. It should be a good game. As long as the Miami Dolphins show up and do what they've been doing, it gets below 500 teams, they will expose the Cowboys' deep defense, right? Arthur says, Buck, you're counting your chickens before the eggs hatch. I'm just playing the what if game, man. Like, what if? What if? And then he says, you need to slow it down, baby. Slow it down. Ant says, let's not forget Dallas is missing Trayvon Diggs. That's going to hurt them in the playoffs. No, it's not. It hurt them.
Did you see Stephon Gilmore last night?
Right? Did you see Bland all season long? The reason the Trayvon Diggs injury did hurt the Cowboys week 3 when they played the Arizona Cardinals. But let's just be honest, missing 4 offensive linemen also hurt them, like in that particular game. But
hasn't Stephon Diggs given up like the most yards by any quarterback as well? I mean, like, yes, he makes some big plays, but
yes,
he gives up just as many big plays as he makes. So if he makes a big play, that's to make up for the big play that he just gave up. So
yeah,
I don't think that losing out on Diggs is going to be, you know, an excuse for the Cowboys. They have, like you said, Bland. And Stephon Gilmore is playing, you know, lights out. So he can take their number 1 guy. Bland can go number 2. So I'm curious to see how that matchup will go, because I'm assuming you're going to put Hill or Gilmore on Hill, which is going to have, you know, Waddle versus Bland. So I'm interested to see that Bland versus Waddle matchup. That's going to be the key to that game.
Yeah, and then
also keeping Michael Parsons out of your backfield.
Right. Really, the only way you do that is getting a warrant out for his arrest, like Von Miller did, but he still played, which is weird. But whatever. Buck is hallucinating again, says John Peoples. I'm not hallucinating. I'm just speaking what if. Hoffy, we're at the hour. Sit us out, big guy. That is that, man. So how was your first hour show, Hoffy?
It was good.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Anything you want to change?
Still can't believe the Cowboys beat the brakes off the Eagles like that.
I mean, you should have known. You picked the Eagles to win.
I mean, I just figured it was a win-win.
Right.
I wanted the Cowboys to win. Even though I don't like either team, but I wanted the Cowboys, same thing with the Patriots. I'm doing the same thing. Like,
right.
I pick against them and it's a win-win. If they win, cool. I'm happy.
You wanted the Cowboys win because you want the 49ers to have the number 1 overall seed. I get it.
I didn't even think of that, but yes, that too. But no, I don't fucking like the Eagles. They beat us in the Super Bowl, and I don't like this whole Jalen Hurts is fucking spectacular. I think any quarterback would be spectacular with the weapons that he has.
Yeah, but it is what it is. Yeah. So John sent me a message like at 3:00 in the morning, like, "Oh, you went 7-6 over the weekend." Fuck, I did, dude. So you might want to be checking your picks. Like
I think I might have actually finished under 500.
Yeah, because I got all of the afternoon games right except for the Bears, right? Which I wanted to pick the Bears, but I couldn't pull the trigger.
You didn't pick them because you did on Friday's show.
Yeah,
and I was like, ooh, and then when I saw that, I was like, oh, Buck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally started to circle the Buccaneers, and then I was like, no, I'm not doing it, and I went with the Falcons.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like, you can even look at my yellow line. Like, there's a line on top of the fucking Falcons. I was going for it.
Yeah.
I got the Bengals, got the Browns, took the Texans, which I didn't think there was any chance in hell that the Jets would win that. I picked the Lions. Yeah, I have to figure out what my record was.
Yeah, so the only one I got wrong, or one that got wrong, was the Lions and Bears. So there's one. And then I got the Raiders Vikings wrong because I picked the Raiders to win, and then I got the Chargers Broncos wrong. So I only got 3 games wrong. Well, I guess 4 counting the Thursday night game. He's like, "Oh, you got like six games wrong." I'm like, "Are you fucking drunk?" Like,
when I scrolled through, like you said, with the seeing the score of the game, I didn't watch that game. So when I looked at 4 o'clock to see the, your posts and whatnot, and I was like, 3-0. Did Buck do a typo? No fucking way.
Yeah.
That a game end 3-0. This isn't the fucking Chargers versus Patriots in a freaking monsoon.
So, that game was 0-0 till a minute left in the game. Josh Dobbs got benched in the second quarter.
I thought he wasn't even gonna start.
He had 5 completions, I think. He got sacked 8 times. It was so bad. But all right, man.
They're gonna have to probably re-sign Kirk Cousins because I don't think they're gonna be able to get any other quarterback.
No, they still got that. They still got that rookie that they drafted, Jaron Hall from BYU. I think he is. I think they'll see how he does next week.
Yeah, because Zach Wilson did so well out of BYU.
He beat the Houston Texans.
Whatever.
He has.
I wanted the Texans to take the fucking South because I don't. Another team I'm not a fan of, the Jaguars.
Right.
Just so we don't have to listen to XD Gamer.
Zach Wilson has more wins than Aaron Rodgers does this season. Too soon?
I'm kind of bummed I can't find that meme of Aaron Rodgers just running out the time. It's you, whatever, how long, whatever that GIF was or whatnot. I'd blast that on every post.